We'll go ahead and start with some from for babies. This is Who's Wearing a Hat, but there are actually two others now in this series. It's a brand new series, so we didn't have it. Now we had some other books that were similar, the same artwork, and similar where it's kind of like a seek and find. But this one is about half the size. It's perfect for fitting in a diaper bag, and it's only $6.99. But I love these books, and so does my toddler. Inside of them, it'll ask you to have a prompt, and it's just a simple thing. It says, who's up on the wall? And then you have to find the cat on the wall. And then on the next page, who's chasing a ball? And I love this one because it's rhyming words, there's bright colors, and there's all different things to find on the pages. This has been really helpful for my toddler to work on vocabulary. We've been learning lots of words, and she loves to find different things. So I'll ask her questions, and she'll point to it, and she's making animal sounds and just loves this book. So highly recommend these. These are a great deal for only $6.99. Sturdy pages. They're not paper, so they can't be ripped, and perfect size for little hands. $6.99. Who's Wearing a Hat? And there's two others in this series. I also have two of the Billy and the Mini Monsters series. Now there's actually more in this series, and I bought them all as a collection, but my kids have loved them so much that they're spread out throughout the house, and I couldn't find them all. So I just wanted to grab a few and show you the inside. So these are perfect for your kids that are at that point where they're ready to move on from picture books to beginning chapter books. These are kind of like a comic book style with lots of text bubbles and lots of pictures to show what's happening in the story. But they are hilarious. My kids, okay, so they're probably too easy for my 10-year-old, but she has enjoyed them so much that she has been reading them. I found some in her room. And I bought these for my my 4-year-old because she's having a hard time going to bed at night. She's scared of the dark. And they're about this boy who's also scared of the dark. And he ends up finding these monsters in his drawer that his dad had got from a consignment store. And so it's hilarious because there's these little monsters. They're really tiny, and they're scared of Billy, and Billy's scared of them, but they turn out to help him out. But they are just funny. One of them likes to eat ties, another loves to eat cheese, one eats his eyeballs, and he grows it back, comes right through his face, is like slime. So very funny series. Great for all ages, and great as a read aloud or for those reluctant readers. I highly recommend this series, Billy and the Mini Monsters. Another couple books that are new are No Worries and Hello Happy. So both of these are like kind of like a reference book and an activity book for kids who struggle with anxiety or maybe with anger problems. So there are activities throughout the book, and things that, for this one it's Hello Happy. It shares activities they can do, fun ways, drawing. You can see my daughter's already drawn a picture. Prompts and suggestions, things to try to help when you are angry. Rather than getting angry and being aggressive, there's other ways you can deal with it. So great book. And at the beginning, there's a welcome from Dr. Sherry Coombs, who's a child and family psychotherapist. So has a lot of information in it that I think is great for parents and for kids that are struggling with anxiety and anger. So there's both of them. You can, I recommend both of them. They're only $6.99, so I think every home would benefit from having them. Another picture book that is just so fun. You definitely have to get this one in your home. And I think this is a great read aloud for schools. It would be a great gift for libraries. It's ooh, I say ooh, you say ah. And it gives you prompts. Whenever I say ooh, then the listener would say ah. And it just gets funnier and funnier. Now if you see the color red, pat your head. And so then they start patting their head. And it's just funny. When you see an ant, you say underpants, and the kids are giggling, and it actually tells a funny little story about this donkey that's named Ooh. So fun book. This one's about in the Viking times, and this boy can't hear, but he loves to tell stories with his hands. A knight, and he's fighting a dragon because the dragon has burned down all of the trees. And the boy can't hear what's going on, but he can see the worry in his parents' faces. He asks why they're fighting, and when they stop and actually discuss what's going on, they realized that it was a misunderstanding. This boy taught a great lesson to these knights and the king and the dragon. And it's just a great story about communication and listening to each other. Cute story. Ava's Spectacular Spectacles. This girl doesn't want to wear glasses. So if you have a kid who's reluctant to put on their glasses, maybe this one would be a good one for them. Very funny. It's just a simple story, but it talks about how this girl can't see the board, and the teacher brings out this book and says, if Little Red Riding Hood had put on her glasses the day she went to visit her grandmother, she would have seen the big teeth and the big eyes. So, and it goes through several stories, Humpty Dumpty and Hansel and Gretel. There's Humpty Dumpty right there. Little Bo Peep. So it's a very humorous story about wearing your glasses. So, great one for any kid that has glasses. Another picture book. Now, that's now my daughter's favorite. We read this to every night before bed. It's about a lemur who lives in this apartment building with a whole bunch of other animals, and he sleepwalks every night. And it didn't start off as much of a problem, but it's gotten worse and worse until he sleepwalks out of the house, and so all his friends follow him to keep an eye out for him, and he crosses the road and they help him. He crosses a telephone wire and just goes on all those crazy adventures, and they're able to grab him before he falls off the cliff. But it's a really sweet story about friendship, and my daughter loves it for bedtime. So this is called Lemur Dreamer. So here is the last one of our books that's from a new series, and this is probably the one I'm most excited about, A Magical Adventure. So this has everything in it. So I would say it's like a fairy tale, it's a picture book, it's an activity book. It's kind of like one of those choose your own adventures that we used to have growing up, where you get to choose the page that you go to and find out what happens. So it starts with two brothers, Jen and Adam. And they have no money, their family has all died, and they start to fight over their troubles. So that's the beginning of the story, but on the next page it says, find each brother a piece of bread for their journey. So it's a search and find on the first page with the activity to do. And then you turn the page, and it continues the story. They soon came to the field filled with birds. Find two birds that look the same. So they have different activities on every page, which is really fun. And then you come to this page, and the birds told Jen and Adam to follow the path until they came to a house where two fairies lived. And then they don't want to do the same thing, so the first brother taps on the first window, and then it tells you to turn to page 12. And you can see there's page numbers on every one of the pages. And then the next brother, he tapped on the second window, and it tells you to turn to page 32 to see what happens. So it's really fun. You can go on different adventures with the brothers and find out different things. Lots of things. Here's mazes to do. This one is this will take a lot of time for kids. Great book to take anywhere. If you need a good boredom buster, or if you're going on a long trip, I highly recommend this one. Any child, any age will enjoy this. So I haven't even shown my kids this yet. I think I'm going to be keeping this because we're going to be driving across the country coming up soon. So it'll be a great one to pull out when they're when they need a change of not watching a movie or something. So this is A Magical Adventure. Great book.